Hello and welcome back to another video here on the channel. In today's video I'm going to be showing you 5 things that every Minecrafter must know how to do, useful tips and tricks, so let's jump into them. Okay, so the first thing we are going to do is access your .minecraft folder. This is a thing that you're going to need to do for some parts later in the video, and it's a very useful thing to do. So what you want to do to access your .minecraft folder is percentage, this is in your search bar, app data, percentage, and then enter. This will bring up this file here, and this is your app data roaming file, which then you can go to your .minecraft folder there. This is where Minecraft runs from. So this is a key thing if you want to access your world saves and things like this. So these are all your worlds here. You can then share your worlds and things like that. Okay, so number 2 is how to make a different profile. So all the world saves and everything is completely separate from your other world saves. Very useful if you're going back to older versions of the game or newer versions of the game, such as snapshots. So what we want to do is we want to go to launch options, add new, and we're going to call this test just for the example. And we're going to say this is going to be for snapshot 18W22C. And we don't want this to go in our .minecraft folder saves because it could corrupt some of our stuff. So we want to keep this completely separate. So what we want to do is we want to click game directory just there. And here we want to do a backward slash. And then you're going to type the name of a new folder. So I'm just going to call this test. And there we can click save. And this is now in a different folder. So I'm going to boot up the game and we're going to have a look at the .minecraft folder. And you'll see that it's made a whole new folder just for this profile. Okay, so I booted up the game and now you can see there is a new profile here called test, which is the one we made, and everything is now in here. So there are the saves folder is in a different folder, so everything is completely separate. All the resource packs, you can do everything separately, and this isn't everything that's meant to be here. As you can see, there's a lot more in this folder. That's because I haven't sort of gone through all the different settings and changed different things, but more stuff will go in there. It just keeps things very, very separate. Moving on to the next thing. Okay, so the next tip is to increase the amount of RAM allocated to Minecraft, meaning the game will run smoother. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to launch options again. We're going to go into the profile we want to change. So I'm going to go into the latest release here, and you want to click on JVM arguments. And here, this number here is the amount of RAM allocated to Minecraft. Here, for example, is 1 gigabyte, and we are going to change this. I'm going to say to 4 because my computer can handle that. This will be computer dependent, so if you allocate lots of RAM to it, not much else is going to work. So you need to be careful on how much RAM you allocate to it. Okay, so our next 2 tips are in-game. So the first one is to increase the frame rate, which you can go to options, video settings, and just whack maximum frame rate the whole way up to unlimited. It does make quite a bit of a difference. Okay, so the last tip for today's video is kind of a few different tips in one, but we're going to go with it. So if you press F3 and Q together, you will bring up this menu here. And I believe if you're on a laptop, which I never knew myself when I was on a laptop, I believe it is FN, F3 and Q. So hold the FN key, F3 and Q button to bring up this menu here and to use any of these options here. So these are different options you can use in game. You don't have to opt to use these. So the first one is to reload chunks, which is F3 and A, which just reloads all the chunks around you, as you can just see there. And the next one is to show hitboxes. So if we go F3 and B, there we go, you will see that this is kind of a bad example, but all item frames you can see their hitboxes. Hopefully there are some villagers over in here. Yeah, there you go. So you can see their hitboxes, which can be useful for when you're transporting mobs. So this is kind of unknown, but it's a very, very useful feature. Let's turn that one off and let's bring back up the menu. So the next one we can do is F3 and D. So if you're doing some recording or something, it's very useful for YouTube. You can completely clear the chat with F3 and D. So let's bring the menu back up again. The next one is you can cycle your render distance. You don't have to go into your menu, which is using F3 and F. And you can hold shift as well to invert. So we can, as you can see, that goes up. And we can continue that going up. And if I hold shift and F, it goes back down again. So I'm going to take that back down to 12. There we go. And I'll clear the chat. Let's bring the menu up again. The next one is show chunk boundaries. This can be very useful for making maps. So if we go to F3 and G, you'll see that you get these yellow lines and blue lines, which will go the whole way up to sky height and the whole way down to bedrock. And this can be very useful if you're making maps, as maps align with chunk boundaries. So if we head over here to the big face I made in Season 2 of Omithcraft, you'll see that all the chunks, basically each pixel is a chunk, which is very useful for map making, and it can make your life a lot easier. So what is the next feature? Let's have a look. You can show advanced tooltips with F3 and H. So if you were to have a pickaxe or something, you'll see it shows more features down at the bottom, which can be very useful. It shows durability levels as well when you've actually used it. So if we took those off, you hopefully be able to see, yeah, there are some less things on there, and it's more useful in survival because you can see how many uses your tool has left. Okay, for the next one, you do have to be opt in game because this is obviously an opt feature. Means you can F3 and N means you can cycle between creative and spectator. It's very useful if you're building very compact things in creative. You can go straight from creative, quickly do something, and then hop back and get out of the small gap you're in. Very useful. Okay, so the next one is very useful for time lapses if you're a YouTuber. I never knew this till very late on when I started making time lapses, because I used to have the chat like that, and you'd have the chat box down at the bottom so I could go onto a different window and play the game through there. But there is a simple way you can do this with F3 and P. You can pause on lost focus enabled, which means you can alt tab out of the game, and this is what you usually expect. The menu would come up, but if you do this again, or it probably be the other way around because I already had it enabled, if you have it pause on lost focus disabled and I alt tab out of the game, you'll see that it hasn't paused on the menu. I can go on to different things, as you can see here, and it won't alt tab out unless you go back into the game. So it's very useful for time lapses. Something I suffered with myself was I always had these issues with sound, and it would sometimes just sound would not play, and I never knew how to fix it. But there is a way you can fix this with F3 and T. It reloads resource packs, which includes the sound pack. It does cause a large lag spike, but if you aren't getting sound and all your sounds up and everything, just you're not getting any noise from it, use F3 and T, and this will bring up. It'll reload all the resources, give you a bit of a lag spike, but you'll get the sound back in the game. For the next one, I've had to quickly jump into the pre-releases. I'm in pre-release 8, so it wasn't in earlier snapshots, but I'm not 100% when this was introduced, but a new one has been introduced. So if we go to the F3 and Q menu, you will see that there is F3 and C, which will copy the location as a teleport command. So we can use F3 and C if we press that. Copied location to clipboard, which means we can give this to other players in case they want to get to the same position in a world as us, and there is also hold F3 and C to crash the game. I think that's in case you run into any issues and you can't close the game, you can use F3 and C. There is also F3 and I, which will copy entity or block data to clipboard. So if we use this chest, you'll see it's got 9 compressed ice in there, or packed ice as I like to call it, and if we use F3 and I, you'll see it copied server-side block data to clipboard, which is a very long piece of text. You obviously have to, so you can see exactly what's in the chest, where it is. This is quite overpowered, I personally think, but you obviously have to paste this into a Word document or something, just so you can see the full extent of the word, because it won't fit into the Minecraft chat. You can also hold Shift while doing F3 and I. There you go. So it'll copy the client side block data, which means it's a lot shorter the text, and you can see some of the basic details, such as the direction. I keep clicking on the wrong thing. Such as the direction of where the block is facing. So we can run that command there, which is already set. So if we break that, you'll see that we can place that again. It won't keep the data because that's server-side data. Okay, so I think by the time you watch this video, 1.13 will have been released. It means hopefully, I think the day this comes out, the day after, we are hoping to start Omithcraft, and this time next week, you'll hopefully see the first Omithcraft Season 3 video. We're really looking forward to putting it all together. But yes, 2 videos a week. Hopefully you're enjoying this. This is the first week of 2 videos a week. We have the update video and this video. Next week, we will have an Own with Craft video, and there is another type of video. And whilst I'm away, there are going to be loads of other different videos, a few different top 5 videos, and a couple of Serve Tech videos. So hopefully you're looking forward to that. 2 videos a week, that should be good. But otherwise, I hope you have enjoyed today's video. If you found it useful, please leave a like, as it really helps our channel. And I will see